know that some of the world-changing contributions in science were made by women scientists? A couple of years ago, when India launched its successful Mars mission, a picture of Indian women celebrating this victory had gone viral. Well, these women were not mere spectators. They were very much part of the team, which included many women scientists. This is just one example of how women have been making significant contributions to advanced science, but unfortunately, there exist several gaps in female participation in science. Let's take the case of Nobel Prizes, for example. Only 49 women versus 825 men have been awarded a Nobel Prize till date. Even within this, the proportion of female Nobel laureates within science is terribly low, less than 5%. Why is the ratio so skewed, especially when evidence points to equal aptitudes for both males and females in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics subjects, collectively called as STEM subjects? Although historical evidences and research do point towards a bias against women, a very important factor that cannot be overlooked is that many promising women scientists drop out of their career at a late stage, leading to a reduction in the pool of women in science in senior roles. This is represented as a leaky pipe as published in the UNESCO Science Report. What causes this leaky pipe? Let us explore this through the story of a 15-year-old girl who loved science. At that young age, she was fascinated by the mystery of life, something that reveals ever-increasing complexity the further one tries to decipher it. Her fascination soon became a burning ambition to discover a potent medicine to cure cancer. She fueled her ambition by working hard and embarking on a doctoral program in a world-renowned cancer institute. And she obtained her PhD with flying colors. She was the recipient of the Dean's Award for an outstanding dissertation research in cancer genetics. Then she went on to work on drug discovery, very true to her original goals. She was only 26 years old at that time, and hers was a perfect example of a stellar early career in science. By then, she was also married, and she and her husband decided to start a family. Little did she realize at that point that she was about to face one of the most challenging situations in her life. Achieving motherhood seemed to be tougher to her than obtaining a PhD. After several failed infertility treatments and the challenges of managing these treatments with work, she decided to leave her dream job in science in pursuit of motherhood, which became a very important priority to her at that point in life. But here's the good news. A year later, she conceived her first child. Yes, her focus and prioritization did pay off. And this brought so much positivity that sparked her inner creativity, leading her to co-author and publish a book during this time with a former friend from graduate school. When their child was born, she and her husband relocated to another country. This is where she started looking for a job, trying to relaunch herself back into a science career. But what happened? The significant career break and the relocation posed challenges. But being the persistent person that she has always been, she put in a lot of focus and effort and finally landed a job in science communications. The writing and publishing of a book did help get that job in science writing. But you see, she did sidetrack from her original goals. Nevertheless, she was happy to get back into science because science is an experience. Once you have tasted it, it's tough to let go. At that point of time, she also managed to really be happy in her new job. But then the career change, the relocation, the challenges of managing two young kids all seemed to make her believe that she was no longer good at what she was doing. Yes, this was an unexpected problem in her life. Totally unexpected. The happy, the excited person that she was, all gone. Every single day, she struggled with self doubt and fatigue. Do you think such thoughts would have allowed her to progress in her career? Do you think she was that 15-year-old, brave, ambitious girl? And guess what she wanted to do? She wanted to quit. Where did that girl go? That ambitious 15-year-old girl. That was me. Yes, that 15-year-old girl was me. And this is my story. My story brings to light two major and real problems that affect the career progression of women in STEM. One, the leaky pipe, which coincides with personal needs such as motherhood, elder care, and relocation. Number two, imposter experience, which is a draining thought that I'm not good enough to work here. I don't deserve to belong here. And this can happen to anybody at any point of time because it happened to me, who used to be described early on by friends as a super confident girl with fire in her belly. So, what can we do to solve these problems? Because losing out highly skilled and educated women from the STEM workforce is not just a personal loss, it's a huge intellectual and economic loss for countries. As the problem exists at multiple levels, the solutions also have to be multidimensional. These levels, I call it the 4 S's. Starting with self, which is the individual themselves. Next, support, which includes family, work, and friends. Next, society, where issues stem from societal stereotypes and cultural beliefs. And the last level, system, where changes have to be made at the policy level itself. I would start with the self. Because for any change to happen, the change has to start from here, from the individual. When faced with challenging situations, it is very easy to shift the blame to others and the situations and say, hey, things are not working for me. I don't have enough opportunities. I don't have the right support system. I don't have a great boss. My boss is terrible. This is what we end up saying most of the times. But it's very important to realize what is going on here and change the situation from here. It is important to become aware of what is going on within you and ask yourself, what is it that is causing you to attract these situations in life? What is it that you can change? Because it's easier to change yourself than to change others. Take help. Read books. Do not hesitate to find a mentor. Take professional help, such as career coaching or life coaching. I did all of that to change my situation. Also, I had joined a women in science support group at that point. And guess what? This is one group that I had hesitated joining before because of a fear of being branded a feminist. But when I faced the situation of self-doubt, waiting for approval and encouragement from everywhere else, the only group or people that I could turn to was the Women in Science Support Group. There I learned that I'm not the only person facing these problems. And the moment I realized that these were global problems affecting the career progression of women in STEM, I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to change the situation and enable my fellow women in science to retain their scientific careers. I started reading and researching a lot about it. I started writing about it. And my efforts got me the opportunity through the Women in Science group to represent my institute at a global symposium focused on improving the quality of research and innovation through equality. At the symposium, which was held last May in Tokyo, this is called the Gender Summit, I learned that it is so important to bring in awareness, to bring in the right perspectives, to take the much needed action. I left the summit wishing to do a similar summit in Singapore, in beautiful Singapore, with a focus on Asia Pacific. But once again, small thoughts nagged me. Who would listen to me? I don't have a leader in my title yet. Will my perspectives be taken in the right spirit? Would I be branded a feminist? But somehow I knew that this time I had to shut off my small thoughts. So I pushed myself every single day to make this happen. Here I share a quote from my favorite book, Alchemist. And when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you achieve it. True to that, the right people got involved in the Gender Summit, and the Gender Summit is happening in Singapore next year. Well, so I want every woman pursuing their career in science to know that a lot of the problems that we think we're facing can be changed simply by changing the way we think about ourselves. Take charge of your situation. Take responsibility for your situations. Get out there. Make yourself and make your work more visible. Science communication has become more important today than ever before. And I must add, personal branding too, even for scientists. The next level, support. It goes without saying that a woman can go a long way in her career through support from her family and friends, no doubt. Here I would like to make a point that organizations can do a lot if they put sufficient thought in providing support for working mothers, especially in childcare. One simple example that I can quote or state is that the provision of a clean and dedicated room for working mothers to pump and store milk while being away at work for the young babies goes a long way in not just supporting working mothers, but also in meeting a basic human need. Next, we need to break certain stereotypes that exist in the society with respect to science. First and foremost, Did you know that there is a stereotype that boys are better at math than girls? Well, not so relevant for Singapore, but it does exist globally. And one of the reasons why girls prefer not to choose STEM subjects or drop out of STEM careers at a later stage. Yet another stereotype is that scientists look like this. Yes, old man with messy hair, sometimes thick glasses, big moosh. The fact is that scientists can also look like this. Yes, that's me. I participated in a beauty pageant last year in my late 30s to break this stereotype. Yeah, it took me that many years to realize, to come out of the stereotype that I was like so hard to try and fit into, which is the intellectual look. Yeah, I used to dress down a lot during my PhD and postdoc days. But I want our girls to know that you can be who you are and still do science. There's no pressure absolutely to fit into any kind of stereotype. So be yourself. The next stereotype is that family and science do not go together. This is very prevalent in academia. Even recently, I hear people talking about fears of starting a family while being in academia. The fact is that it's not true. There are many women scientists out there doing both. But the fact is that you may not be able to give your 100% in both family and career at the same time. But what's the problem? What's the problem if you take a pause? What's the problem if you slow down a bit? Because you can always shift your gear to high speed and pick up speed later. Because life phases are transient. Children grow up. Your priorities change. I consider Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn a great role model in science, not just because she's a Nobel Prize winner, but she's a mom herself, and she has extended her research to benefit society, especially moms of children, differently able children. Yes, scientists are human beings too. They can be as creative as they want. I would like to take this opportunity to share a few lines, a poem that I wrote, which is a prayer for my heart. Light up my world, I pray, keeping darkness and gloom at bay, for I wish to see a bountiful world basking in the sheen of peace. Light up my intellect, I pray, with wisdom and knowledge I may spread the light, touching other lives, empowering with enlightenment. Light up my heart, I pray, with forgiveness that will take away binding bitter energies, creating boundless space for love, peace, and joy. Light up my soul, I pray, picking up pieces lying astray, unifying into the one and only, liberating into a space where calmness merges with ecstasy. With light in my life, I discern the blissful warmth once granted, close to the source in mother's womb. Each new life is quite the same. Before I leave the stage, I would like everyone in this room to think about the women in your lives. It could be your mother, wife, daughter, sister, friends, or colleagues. Are they living their lives to their fullest potentials? If not, what can you do to support them?